right, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of Game Wild. It is recording on a very special day for all of those who know. It is Valentine's Day. That's when we're recording. It releases the next day, but we're recording on Valentine's Day. So I hope everyone has had a very good Valentine's Day so far, or had a good Valentine's Day since you're going to be listening to it on a Monday, that you got everything that you wanted and more. So how about you, SJW? How's your Valentine's Day so far?
Well, for anybody who's worried, we are not ditching our loved ones here to to do this podcast.
Yeah, mine's working and
yeah. And I actually already did some stuff over this weekend with my girlfriend as well, Steph. We actually went to paint night, and I drew. We did two paintings. Have you ever been to Muse Paint Bar?
No.
In Providence? It's actually a really good idea for like a date night. But so there's two paintings. We both did one, and this one was like a Valentine's Day one. So we both did a koi, like a fish, and they like linked together. Like the two pictures go together and they link together. So I'll show you a picture of it. But I wrote SJW in mine on like the design of the fish. So
there you go.
I'll show you. I actually put it on my Twitter if you check my Twitter.
Well, my wife's an artist, so that's interesting.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, newspaper. They sell drinks and food there. Like it's great. Definitely check it out. Yeah.
Cool. She's been working, so she worked all weekend, so haven't really been able to do much. But we're trying to figure some stuff out for this week. We're gonna take a day off this week and go out and do stuff.
There you go. Take a day off from work.
Yeah.
Too.
Yep.
Nice.
Exactly.
There we go.
So, guys, I know that you're super interested in what we're doing for our Valentine's Day in a week. So, let's get to the stuff that matters. Let's get right into it. Question of the week time. Listen, if you've already seen what the name of the podcast is in regards to this week's episode, it's very TV centric.
Yeah.
It's a lot of news about some video game TV shows and movies or whatever. So we decided the question of the week is like, what are you watching right now? Like, I mean, you've been in this pandemic, you've been dealing with, you know, all the types of things of like, what should I do with myself while I'm stuck at home? And some people are watching Netflix, some people are watching Prime, some people are watching Disney Plus, Discover Plus now. There's so many pluses out there that, you know, Game Wild Plus coming soon to a theater near you. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, so what are you watching right now, SJW? What's on your docket?
So
I know what I'm gonna say. So
yeah, I'm actually curious as to what you're watching, because I might generally, I know we're both interested in similar things, so I might pick up whatever you're watching. But so there's actually two things, because one I'm watching with Steph, and I feel like a lot of people in relationships have this where like they have one that they watch with their significant other, and then they have one that they watch on their own because they might, you know, both people might not be into it. So the one I'm watching with Steph is Sons of Anarchy, which I actually have already seen the whole thing, but it's totally something that I'm down to watch again. It was such a good series. It was one of the best shows I think ever in existence. House is up there for me too. I really love House, but yeah, and she's enjoying it. She loves it, and I just can't wait until we get to the final season. We're on season 5 right now, and she's gonna be so disappointed when she gets to the final episode. But so that's what I'm watching with her. Yeah, right. And on my own, so there was this thing that happened on Twitter where everybody in kind of the Legend of Runeterra community that I know, and it probably went to other communities as well, but they did this thing where somebody posted like, hey, it's post your top 4 anime day, and they would post 4 pictures in a square on Twitter and share it and basically say, these are my top 4 animes. Then you have to tag 4 people to also put their top 4 animes, and then it just ends up spreading, right? Everybody does it. So I did mine. I put my top 4 animes up. And honestly, that's hard because I watch and love so many
Wait,
animes.
hold on. I think I know what it is. It's Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z Super, Dragon Ball Z GT. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was Dragon Ball, but I also put Yu Yu Hakusho on there.
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, that's an older one that no longer makes. And then I also put Naruto on there. And the other one's like, it's so great because like I really like My Hero Academia and Inuyasha. Like it's so difficult. But anyways, the one I'm watching now, because one of the other people that I saw share their favorite 4 anime, I saw one called Haikyuu. and HAIKYUU exclamation point exclamation point. That's I actually haven't looked that up yet. I imagine it's a volleyball term. But anyways, it's just a it's a high school volleyball team is all that it is. And they just play against other teams in tournaments and stuff like that. And at first I'm like, there's no way this is gonna be good, right? It's just a freaking volleyball. But they get so in depth into like why they're doing things as a team, and like the team mentality, and not no one person is better than the team. Like it's good. It's a good show.
Development. It's character development.
It's really good character development for a freaking high school volleyball team. Like it's just really good. And it sucked me in. So now I'm watching that. I finished the 2 seasons on Netflix. So,
he's in. So
what about you?
Well, mine's really just WandaVision.
Oh,
WandaVision.
I heard about that.
If you're not watching WandaVision, you need to be watching WandaVision, especially if you've watched all the MCU movies, because it's basically just a culmination of where we left off after the last MCU movie, which I believe was it Far From Home? Spider-Man Far From Home? I can't remember.
That was the most recent Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was like the last Marvel MCU movie as far as to date in regards to the timeline. So like I know that they have other movies that are going to be set in the past, but I think Spider-Man Far From Home was like the last MCU movie that was. So this is kind of like the first thing since that, so it's past Endgame and all that stuff. So a lot of interesting things, a lot of I'm not going to spoil anything because it's a super weird show to start off. As a matter of fact, the first 2 episodes were debuted together, and people were really hating on it a little bit, and they're like, WTF, this is stupid, this is weird, this is dumb, I'm not going to waste my time. But once you get to episode 4, you're invested, because then things start to become clearer. And it's a weekly show that's released on Disney Plus. And I know there's a lot of controversy about Disney Plus right now. Put that aside, whatever. It is an excellent show. It is MCU quality, as I will put it. And if you, like I said, if you've invested your time and watched every MCU movie, you need to be watching this, because it just is continuing the story of what's happening, and it's fabulous.
I think the only MCU movie I haven't seen at this point is Captain Marvel. Randomly,
you need to watch
Captain
Here's
Marvel.
the funny part, though. You probably need to watch Captain Marvel to be invested a little bit more, because a lot of the characters in this show are actually from other properties. Like Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp, stuff like that. So you're like,
you got to know all.
Thor, but you have to. But even if you didn't watch them, I think you'd still be like, this is pretty cool. So that's what I'm watching right now that I'm invested in.
I'm gonna check it out for sure. I keep hearing about it.
So I got people watching it, and they were like, they had not seen any spoilers or anything, and they're like texting me about the first couple episodes, and like, this is super weird. And I'm like, the payoff is coming. Don't worry about it. And then it was like,
now I get it.
So WandaVision is definitely what I'm watching. And then Together things, we just started watching this weird crime documentary on Netflix about the Cecil Hotel and this person who disappeared.
What is it with people in crime documentaries, man? It's so weird. Everybody
it's more
likes
of a mystery, but see, this one was more of a mystery of like what happened, but it's interesting. So I forget the name of it, but it's about this person who went missing from this notorious LA hotel.
Nice.
So so that's it.
Yeah,
right
Steph's
there,
big into the crime stuff too, so I think we watch those occasionally. I feel it's so funny though, like as a society, we don't want bad things to happen, we don't want crime to happen, but yet we're so intrigued and interested in crime documentaries and stuff. It's just very interesting.
The dark side of the force.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, we have.
Those are a question. So, what are you guys watching? Let us know if you are here live.
Yep.
Put it in the stream chat. If you are
Facebook
just
group.
like watching us on YouTube or playing on our Facebook group, let us know what you guys are watching. We'd love to know if you have anything special that SJW and I may have not have seen. So
I'm always down for recommendations. So yeah, hell yeah.
100%. 100%. So with that being said, it is time for our next popular segment, Game Eats. Now, some people may say this one's a cop-out,
I mean,
but I'm
yeah.
going to say it's not, and this is why.
I mean, I
Because,
even think it's a little bit of a cop out. I'm not gonna lie. So you gotta convince me too.
well, listen, we look through all different types of snacks and stuff and try stuff out, but sometimes you need something a little bit healthier. And so we found something that we think is universally a good chip that is healthier, and it's a baked product from Ruffles. 65% less fat than a regular potato chip.
I'm not gonna
However,
lie.
we will be getting into some crazier stuff. Well, not even crazier stuff, but like next week we're gonna try to do the watermelon Mountain Dew.
Oh, I can't wait
and
for
try that out.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got some snack boxes that have different things. I am also looking into trying to source. So another big thing that happened over the week, if you guys didn't know, is Super Nintendo World.
Oh yeah.
Opened in Japan.
Oh, that was sick. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they have these boxes of food you can get at the at Super Nintendo World.
Are they all like Mario themed food and stuff?
Yeah, like you get like a star case, and then in the case has all the cookies and stuff like that.
That's awesome. Okay.
You can only get them in Japan, however.
Does it come with shrooms?
No.
Well, that's really disappointing.
But people are sourcing them on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
So we may look into maybe buying one of them if they're not super expensive. So that's something we're gonna try to get. And we got a snack box with a bunch of different
from South Africa
snacks from South Africa. So there you go. So we're gonna be trying out some weird.
And I haven't heard of a single one of those in there. So just
and but so we're gonna start with the baked Ruffles for today for what we would call cheddar sour cream, an alternative, healthier option for those who still want to snack on chips.
And I'm not gonna lie, this has 3 grams of total fat. That's actually really low for chips.
I know, that's why we're trying to go a little healthier with this one.
This is good. All right, let's. Here's the ASMR segment, everybody. This is what you get with Gamer Eats. Usually, sorry, Game Eats. I keep doing that.
Yeah, well, see, it's basically we can't brand.
We're terrible at branding. All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. All right, here we go.
Go.
All right, so first off, I might be a little biased because I'm a little bit hungry right now. So I haven't had breakfast yet, but this is all right. It's good. It's good. The problem is there's not a whole lot of flavor. It like I can taste the cheddar and sour cream. I know sour cream isn't usually a heavily flavored chip compared to some others, like some of those spicy ones we were having. But yeah, it's not as much flavor as I'd like. I want to say that's partly due to the fact that there is not a lot of fat in here. Like maybe they pull back a little bit on the flavor to get that lower, fat content. But it's good. I mean, and it's got a baked for me. Baked. You've probably had baked Lays before, right? Like other stuff. I love the texture of baked chips. I like that. Baked anything is I like better than the original version. Baked Lays, like just literally anything you can think of. So I think this is actually the first time I've had baked Ruffles ever. Any kind of Ruffles. Is that the same for you too?
Baked Ruffles probably, yep.
I mean, it's good. It's good, but it's not crazy. It's not blowing my mind or anything. It's got, like I said, it's just not a lot of taste. Do you think it has a lot of taste to it, a lot of flavor? Or I really am not. Personally,
depends on which chip you get. If it's got it's definitely inconsistent in all of the dusting.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, maybe it has to do with that. Oh, it's just like those chili lime things we had, right? Like I got one, had a lot of dust on it. Man, come on, chip companies. You guys gotta step up your game. We need some even dusting on these chips. What are we even doing here if you guys can't even dust the chips evenly? Like, come on. Like, I'm putting the chip up to the light here.
Yeah, your light's too bright.
Yeah, my light is pretty bright.
So
yeah, you guys can't see that.
I got to give this one a 6. It goes over the halfway point, but gets knocked for a couple of reasons. Like you said, inconsistency in taste when you get a cheddar and sour cream chip, you want that flavor, and sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna give it a 6 too.
that
I'm gonna agree.
mild in regards to the dusting on your fingers because there is a lack of flavor. So, but overall,
Yeah,
an
literally no
okay
dust.
snack. Yeah, an
Yeah,
okay snack. And a healthy alternative.
and 6
If
is an
you're
okay.
looking,
You know, like that's why we're giving it a 6.
if you're over 5, you're in okay territory.
You're
Minimum.
worth purchasing. It's basically what it
If
is.
you're looking for a healthy alternative that has some flavor and you still want to crave that crunch, but you don't want to
Crave that crunch. I like the
crave that
alliteration
crunch.
there. I like that.
Stuff like that. So I would highly recommend this as a alternative, healthier snack.
Mhm.
But it's not the greatest thing I've ever had in regards to a chip. But for a healthy snack, it's definitely a higher grade.
And just a heads up too.
Mm.
I know a lot of times we kind of introduce the chips and stuff. So we already did a Frito-Lay chip before. The
We've
other
already
week.
done Ruffles chips before. We've
Yeah.
done like
Mhm.
3 Ruffles, I think.
Yeah, so it's just real quick. It's Frito-Lay
Real quick.
again. It's the same thing. It was founded in 1932, and they do a ton of different chips. Ruffles specifically was started in 1948. Just a little bit of history for you guys if you guys didn't catch the last Ruffles thing. And I guess baked chips specifically became popular in the 90s. I didn't know that. So it was a 90s thing. So at least something good came out of the 90s. So yeah, so that's it. That's it for Game Eats this week. 6 out of
We hope you
10.
enjoyed it. 6 out of 10.
Baked Ruffles, sour cream and cheddar.
Baked Ruffles. It's okay. So now let's get to the TV news. So, like we said, this is going to be a TV-centric episode because there are a bunch of things we found in regards to things happening on TV. If you go back to an episode we did last year, there was rumors about a Last of Us TV show.
Mhm.
And you and I went through the list of people that fans wanted to have as the lead characters. Well, I'm going back in the history books to my brain, and I don't believe the 2 people that were cast were on that list at all. So, the biggest part of this that you guys need to understand that this is an HBO adaptation of The Last of Us.
Mhm.
And what I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this, SJW, production companies like to play with actors that they've used before.
Mhm.
So when I see this, I'm not surprised that these two people will be playing the leads because one, they were both excellent in Game of Thrones. 2, the lead male character played by Pedro Pascal is on hot fire right now because he is none other than Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So, of course, he is hot fire, and everyone still to this day was super impressed by Bella Ramsey, who played one of the characters in Game of Thrones.
Lyanna Mormont was who she played.
Lyanna Mormont, that's right. So, for such a young actor to be able to play such a stern role, impressed a lot of people. So, it is no surprise that these 2 were cast as the leads of The Last of Us. And let's say that, yes, for the sake of argument, they don't look super exactly like the characters from The Last of Us.
I don't know, man. I think they look pretty similar.
Pedro can pull it off. Ellie, it's close. It's definitely
the thing. So the thing with Ellie is, I think with any child character, you can literally just get like any, as long as it's a kid, like it's gonna be fine.
I would beg to differ with that.
Kid and same color hair, as long as it's like kid and same color hair, I think generally speaking you can get away with it. But I don't know. I think she kind of looks like, I think she looks like Ellie a little bit. I mean, not exactly, but it's
but I think it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work
100%.
because you have two great actors, and it'll be interesting to see where this actually starts. Like, are we in the middle still? Are we at the beginning? Like, where is this going? I would prefer that this be kind of like the middle. Like,
Of The Last of Us, like the storyline?
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
says it's starting from the very first one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's and then I guess it says so. I'll read what the article says for a second here. It says set 20 years after a zombifying pandemic sweeps across North America, grizzled survivor Joel is tasked with transporting teenager Ellie across the country to a lab where a cure is being developed. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the script will also, and that's the first one, the storyline, the script will also include material from The Last of Us 2, which is set 5 years after the original game. So I don't know if maybe there's going to be some flash forwards or something like that, which
Or
we've
maybe
seen.
we're just gonna have characters that were introduced in The Last of Us Part Two be
Yeah.
introduced in the movie. Probably.
Possibly, yeah, that might be it too. But man, all right, listen, we have this. I think they nailed the actors on this. They might not look at, but because you have to get a
Yeah,
good
no,
balance of
I agree
really
with you.
good
No, I
actors and
think
them
this
looking
is
the same, right?
no, I think this is an excellent choice in regards to actors for sure.
But they even in the end of this too, and this is like I get goosebumps when I think about all the shows that are coming out. We're going to talk about another one here in a second. The same division is also producing the one that's doing The Last of Us is also producing the forthcoming movie adaptation of action adventure game Uncharted, starring none other than Tom Holland.
AKA
Another, yeah, aka Spider-Man, aka they're starting Uncharted from the beginning because he's more of a kid right now.
Yep.
That means they're going to be able to take this kid, Tom Holland, and work him through the entire storyline of Uncharted
Series.
over the next like 10,
Yeah.
15 years.
And it's funny too. I was reading articles on Spider-Man, and there was one thing where they said Tom Holland had to wipe off his swagger
He had
to play Spider-Man because he had such swagger and confidence as Nathan Drake that he kind of had to get back into the mindset of playing Peter Parker. And not that Peter Parker doesn't have
He's a little bit more
confidence and
timid.
like that, but
Yeah.
there's a different. I don't even say it's timid. I think they're just like two separate minds. You know what I mean?
Well,
And he had to get back into the Peter Parker mindset
Yeah.
versus the Nathan Drake mindset. Of
Wait,
being
so
like
did they film Uncharted before Homecoming?
they
Or sorry,
filmed
Far From Home.
No, Spider-Man 3. He's currently
Oh.
filming Spider-Man 3.
And he already filmed Uncharted, is what you're saying?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. Wait, so when is Uncharted? Do we know when Uncharted is supposed to come out?
It's because of the pandemic and everything. I don't know the date, but it's in post right now.
Oh,
but it's
July
definitely-
16th, 2021.
Okay, there you go.
No freaking way. Oh my god,
It
I
was
just
in
got so
post,
excited
yeah.
for this year. 2021 is going to shit on 2020, everybody.
We're gonna go see. We're gonna go see it.
Oh,
We'll
hell
have
yeah.
We're gonna have movie reviews coming soon too. We'll have Mortal Kombat in April.
Oh my god.
And we're looking to get a special guest for that one, so that'll be nice. And then we will be doing movie reviews of video game movies such as Uncharted and things like that. So,
Oh my
and that's gonna
God.
be my first exposure to Uncharted because I never played those games.
All of these screenshots of Tom Holland on Google, once I search the release date, look so boss. They look so good with him as Nathan Drake as a kid. It's so insane. It's basically going to be a rerun of Indiana Jones, except 10 times better. Is what's going to happen. I can't wait for this movie. Okay, all right. Anyways,
all right. So now that we fanboyed out about Uncharted, let's move to something that's a little bit more unique and twisted. To say the least.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Metal TV show, guys. It is apparently happening, and they have revealed Sweet Tooth's casting and first details. And when I tell you, I am extremely surprised by this choice.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I mean, could it work? Absolutely. So, according to a new report, the upcoming Twisted Metal series from the PlayStation production has casted none other than Will Arnett. Yes, that Will Arnett, the one who's played Lego Batman. And if you're a big fan of TV shows, you must have watched Arrested Development. He was Job in Arrested Development, one of the best characters ever. And he's going to be playing Sweet Tooth.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing the voice of Sweet Tooth. So let us just say that I don't know if this is live action or if this is going to be digital, but or cartoon or whatever. But he's going to be voicing it. So it's going to be interesting. And Anthony Mackie has been offered the lead role of a character called John. So we'll see what that's going to be all about. but it's really interesting. So the series is a high octane action comedy that revolves around an outsider trying to make a better life for himself, which leads him to being tasked with delivering a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland with the company of a trigger-happy car thief. The report continues, noting that the journey for the outsider will come to conflicts with marauders with vehicles capable of intense destruction, which is where Sweet Tooth comes into play with his famous ice cream truck. But that's really all the details they have right now about it. But the fact that they've said that they actually have brought Will Arnett to voice over Sweet Tooth definitely tells me that this is happening. And
I I like I'm so up in the air about whether or not I like Will Arnett in this role. Like on the one hand, he has a lot of video game voiceover experience. Like he's got the Lego Batman stuff. I think he did some stuff with like Call of Duty a while ago, voicing over characters and
Mhm.
a bunch of other games as well. A lot of Lego games, but I don't know. Like I guess when I think of Sweet Tooth, I think of the Joker. Now they're obviously two different
I don't.
personalities. I don't know. See, I compare them a little bit. I feel like Sweet Tooth's obviously a little bit more maniacal and just straight up like wants to kill people, whereas the Joker has more of like a background as to why he's doing what he's doing. But I don't know. I think what they need in whoever's going to do this role is somebody who can, on the surface, be a normal person, but
Have
then
you
also be Sweet Tooth.
have you ever played Twisted Metal?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you played the last Twisted Metal that they came out?
I mean, is that 3?
No, I believe it was
Oh, it was
Black.
Black. It was
Metal
Black for
Black.
PS2, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I did, but man, it
So
was so long
PS3.
ago. So
Right.
I,
So you're going to have to go back to see the mentality of Sweet Tooth and him being basically a serial killer in an ice cream truck. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see, like, and him kind of like making deals with the devil type deal. It's very interesting. He's a very weird character, unique. So I think it's not a if it's a voiceover role, I'm not too disappointed with it because
yeah,
Will Arnett has that deep voice and can get into places with it. And I think Twisted Metal, Sweet Tooth is not maniacal, laughing, happy, excited Joker style.
hmm
He's stern, brute force. And so that's why I think Arnett is good for that because he doesn't laugh a lot or do anything like that. He's really more of like a straight up, I'm gonna murder you
yeah,
kind of
yep,
situation.
yep, yep.
So I think the darkness that Will Arnett's voice can bring
Okay,
could work out
and actually,
fantastic for
okay, so
this.
here's maybe a better comparison then. If they're gonna go the CGI route, maybe this is gonna be a little bit more like Ghost Rider, if you remember that, where like Nicolas
Mhm.
Cage was. He was also walking around as a normal person in the movie, but then when it came to actually being the Ghost Rider, it was obviously all CGI. It's just a flaming skull. So, and I imagine because Sweet Tooth, with his head on fire and stuff like that, I imagine they'll do something similar with like a clown face with the flaming
Well, he
hair.
wears a mask, so you'll never
Yeah,
actually have to see his face. So
yeah,
you
yep,
could go about it. I mean, they do that with the Mandalorian too. Not to go back to Pedro Pascal, but he's not always in that suit.
yeah, exactly. Hmm.
He's just voicing over
Hmm.
what the Mandalorian.
Hmm.
So there's a strong possibility of that he's just going to be the voice of
Hmm.
Sweet Tooth, and there's going to be somebody huge playing Sweet Tooth. So
Oh, that's a good point.
that
Yeah,
could be it.
yeah, that could be
Like
it
you could
too.
get the, if it's another well, if it's another HBO production, they could get the guy who played the Mountain to be
Yeah,
Sweet Tooth, and
yep.
then just have Will Arnett voice it. I think that would be crazy,
It'll be
insane.
interesting. I'm like when we talk about Last of Us and Uncharted, that 100% totally down with those
Well,
choices.
because that's the guy. Because to be honest with you, that guy, such an overpowering presence that him being Sweet Tooth would just be so boss.
Oh, we'll see. Either way, I am so excited. I'm so now the
Yeah, I
only
would love to see where it goes.
2021 is going to be insane for movies and shows. Like we just have so much stuff
Yeah.
that they're finally working on. It's like all the video games we ever wanted them to make a movie for is finally happening, and it's going to be so great. It's going to be so freaking great.
Yeah, it's just gonna be interesting to see how it goes because I would have preferred it to be more specific to the game itself and be like, listen,
Mhm.
these people are in a tournament to get a wish
Mhm.
and they're trying to do it. And then you could
Oh,
have the
that's
guy Jack, who's
right.
a non person, like a non character, try to infiltrate it and
Oh
try to
wow,
figure out
you
what's
just
going on.
flooded my brain with so much like nostalgia. I totally forgot. So like this is why like you asked me if I played it. Yeah, I played it, but I totally completely forgot the storyline. Now
The
it
game is all about Calypso giving a
yeah, I
wish to
literally
whoever
just it
survives
just all
Twisted Metal.
flooded back into my head. I literally now just I remember the whole plot. So I actually I'm gonna agree with you. I'm a little bit disappointed that I get the ice cream truck is obviously a serial killer in an ice cream truck, but I would have liked to seen like a turn, almost like what's that other movie where Death Race, almost like Death Race. Like I feel like it should have more of a theme like Death Race, where these people are just straight up in cars that kill each other and they're trying to do something. Like because Death Race was entertaining. It wasn't the
Yeah.
greatest storyline as far as movies go, but it was high octane, action packed, and it was definitely
Right, and they
entertaining.
could always figure out ways to keep people alive and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So they lose their car, they don't necessarily have to die. So
exactly.
they could have done it that way and then just had like this one main character trying to find out what's going on from
Hmm.
some secret organization and saying who is Calypso and what is
Hmm.
his deal and all this stuff. But yeah,
No, we'll see how it
so there
goes.
you go. Yeah, so there you go, guys. Twisted Metal TV show. I'd prefer to have another game come out
I
before
was
the
just gonna
TV
say
show,
that.
but
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
one day, one day soon.
So, so speaking about old stuff, we have B4G4 TV launches new content. So, as you may or may not know, G4 is coming back, y'all, and in that, they're starting to do a series of I don't know YouTube videos, etc., called B4G4, which is basically getting people
Hmm.
amped and ready to go for the revival of G4
Yeah.
TV. So you found this article. You seem to be more into this than I am, which is because mainly I feel like, we're in a whole new world and I don't necessarily know if it's going to bring back that same type of wow factor and excitement that the original G4 TV had. Like I remember
Hmm.
when G4 came on cable TV and you were watching, you're like, "Oh, this is so cool! This is
Hmm.
awesome!" You wait for 7 o'clock to watch.
Hmm.
The I forget the name of the show, but it was one of the shows about gaming. But because Attack of the Show was something that happened in the morning, I believe. Right? Was Attack of the Show a
No, it was
morning
that
show?
it debuted at
Oh,
night.
was that
It
the one?
it
So yeah,
debuted at
maybe
night.
that was it. Maybe it was
Hmm.
Attack of the Show, but I'm just not as hyped for this, and I think it's because we're so flooded with content in regards
Yeah.
to what people can make for
Hmm.
gaming now. Like, honestly, these people that are coming back, like Adam Sessler and Kevin Pereira, they could be making their own channel and
Hmm.
doing their own thing, and they probably would be better off in some respect.
Hmm.
But they're coming back for nostalgia and
Hmm.
for whatever case, and they're obviously bringing on some newer people who are in the esports world, in the Twitch world, etc., to kind of bring more, I don't know, pizzazz.
So I mean I agree with you, right? So I did you watch this when you were growing up?
I watched G4 TV. Yes, I was not like hardcore, like oh my god, I gotta watch it every night. But I definitely kept into it when there was E3 and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I was always watching that channel, see what was happening and
Oh
stuff
yeah,
like
the
that.
E3
Because
coverage was
before,
huge. Yeah.
yeah, because before the advent of like the IGNs of the world and the GameStops being hardcore and being able to stream videos of E3,
Hmm.
G4 TV was kind of the place you would go to get real news, live news on what was happening
Hmm. Yeah,
at E3. So
yeah, exactly. And that was always the big thing that I was so pumped to watch about G4 was like, I would be looking at my watch all day like, "Oh man, E3 is going to premiere tonight." Like they got the Nintendo thing happening at 6, the
the
PlayStation
press
thing happening
conference
at
for
7.
Sony,
Yeah,
blah
and then
blah
the
blah.
Xbox thing. And they were the only ones that had it. That was it. Either that or you had a Game Informer subscription or a Game Pro subscription back then and
Mhm.
you would read about it in the magazine. And that
Yeah,
was
but
it.
that was
Mhm.
like, but that problem with that was that wasn't live news.
That
This
wasn't
is like
live. Yeah.
you were getting like up to date.
Yep.
Hey, this is what's happening now, and so
And I think back
it's just
then,
tough.
Well, back then it was also the fact that it was TV was like cable was still a big thing.
Yeah,
So it
right.
was a big deal that on cable there was video game stuff because there was no video game stuff anywhere. Not even really on YouTube, right?
Yep.
Now cable is like a thing of the past. That Comcast owns this new G4, so it will 100% be on cable when it launches, but it's not that big of a deal, not as much as it was back then. So getting that crowd from cable, I don't think is really going to be what they're aiming for. So to your point, there's a shit ton of people online making video game content, right? Hell, I make video game content, right? And yeah, like us, right? There's so much content out there, and it's not even just video games, just in general. But video game is definitely one of the more saturated things. And when if you go on YouTube and you search esports news, right? The two that come to mind, anyways, are the Score Esports, which has 63 million followers or subscribers on YouTube, and then Esports Talk, which has 350K plus subscribers, which has been growing recently, right? This guy Jake owns that one, and I personally like that channel. Now, the thing with both of these channels is they're really the only go-to. There might be some other, decently large ones like 100K plus. They're really the only go-to things for esports. There's no global unified, like, this is the network to go to for esports. There's no ESPN. Let's put it that way. There's no ESPN. It's not a thing yet. You just have YouTube channels. Yeah, exactly. You just have YouTube channels trying to make a name for themselves. So now, what G4 does, G4 has that nostalgia. They had the legitimacy of being a cable network, and they will have that legitimacy again, which there is this little extra tick that you get when you do have your own, cable network on top of it, which obviously these YouTube channels do not have enough money to sink into that. But they're going to be able to carve out a niche, I think, in these two channels I just mentioned. They're serious. Even ESPN, for the most part, is serious. They're like, get to the info. They're serious about it. Gamers don't want serious. If you're watching video game content, you want to be entertained. And look at for instance the last thing that they just put up. They just launched all their B4G4 stuff in the last week. They had Tyler One as a guest. They also had Captain Flowers from League of Legends casters. But Tyler One is anything but serious. Tyler One literally just yells at the camera and swears. That's Tyler One, and that's what they had him on for. That's literally what he did. And but they're still communicating some of the news. They're just giving you here's what happened, and then they just joke about it. They don't get into the nitty gritty of actually talking about the news like something like Esports Talk would. And I think that's where they're going to carve out a niche. And I think that's what's missing right now from gaming. There is no attack of the show or anything like that.
So are you saying that we're too serious then? Do we need to start making fun of things and start making jokes to get more people?
No, we joke. What are you talking about? We're by no means super serious on this podcast. I just think, but we don't script jokes and stuff, right?
Right, we don't. No, we don't. We're more off the cuff.
Exactly, and that's what they do. They brought Tyler One in.
No, I know.
They had this whole storyline set up, right?
They have all this production value. They have money behind it.
Yeah,
we don't.
And
that's why
wow, feels bad, man.
Hashtag feels bad, but we still survive to do this. And that's the point.
But I think what they're doing is really good. I think that it's going to be hard because, like you said, there's so many people in the space doing it. But if there's one person I think can do it, I think it's B4G4. And they're really, I don't know if you saw this. I've watched some of the content on their website. They're really going all in on this idea that the reason why G4 failed in the first place was because it was a really shittily managed thing. Nobody gave a shit there about anything that was going on. They didn't care about managing it properly. It was a poorly run company. And they're just going all out on that. They literally they're joking about that on almost every single thing that they do. And even the CEO guy was like, wait, we need to worry about budgeting for hosts? What? I didn't know. Shit, my bad. I forgot about that. And they joke about that stuff. So they're addressing everything, all their wrongdoings in the past as well. They're just attacking those head on, joking about them, which I love when people do that because I think that's the best way PR wise to really deal with things. So, I don't know. I really want this to be successful, if only for nostalgia at least. And thus far, I mean, the content's been pretty good. You said you like the Kev Lexa thing.
Yeah,
there's something for everybody. I think.
I just think it's one of those things that it's tough because they're coming into an environment now where it's flooded, and they're gonna really have to push to make people want to continue to watch their content, but also make sure that they're still able to get the stuff that really matters to
Hmm.
people. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, and
let's move away from the TV stuff for a second. Oh, we have one more thing you want to add?
I was just gonna say, and it's pretty cool that Austin Creed, aka Xavier Woods, who we saw when we went to
To
uh,
PAX East,
PAX East. Jesus, I don't know why I forgot that. Yeah, because he was doing the D&D thing
Dungeons and Dragons. Yep.
on stage,
Hmm.
and he was pretty. It was pretty funny too. He's very
Yeah.
outgoing. He's a funny dude. So it's pretty cool to see him as like the head host. It looks like so.
He's gonna be one of the major hosts of
Mhm.
these things. But now we've talked TV. Let's talk about the sad news again of what's happening with Cyberpunk 2077. We should have this like be a
Oh man.
weekly update. Cyberpunk
Wait, you
2077.
mean it's no good news for Cyberpunk? What? I would have never guessed. It's bad
Yeah,
news.
yeah. Well, it's apparently people are hacking Cyberpunk 2077 course, source code. So the alleged
Jesus.
attackers have shut down an auction they were running for stolen data. So apparently they stole all the stuff. Not that you want the source code for Cyberpunk
Yeah, yeah,
2077, but
Red. Like, what do you even want that code? That code is jank as far as I'm concerned. I don't even understand who wants it. Maybe that's
probably
why.
75%.
Well, apparently they started the bidding at 1 million, and then they put a
Yep.
buy it now at 7 million. I don't know about you, but I feel like code to something like a game that big, like let's say Witcher. Witcher's code is probably worth like hundreds of millions. I think maybe that's why Cyberpunk's code was only worth 7 million. Like it's like this probably should be 10 times more, but you know, it's pretty shit. So
I think it's one of those things that's like, hey, they were just trying to make a buck.
yeah, like it's like we know this code is ass, but you know, somebody will buy it somewhere. So if you guys don't know, anybody listening, basically, just somebody threatened CD Projekt Red with ransomware. If you guys don't know what ransomware is, I actually had this happen to me on a work computer at the old company I used to work for a while ago, and it just pops up a message saying like you cannot access. It encrypts all your files. It says we're not going to let you access these files unless you pay us, and they give you like a link to pay them with their credit card info and stuff like that. And I 9 times out of 10, they're probably not. If you pay them once, they're just going to ask for more once you pay them. So don't pay them. Don't do that. There is ways to figure it out. But basically, they did this. CD Projekt Red called the bluff and said, "We don't give a shit. We're not going to do this. We have everything backed up." Which they're a big company. Of course, they have everything backed up. And apparently, the whoever was holding them ransom actually did it. They put it on. They put it online. They auctioned it off and. Apparently, whatever websites, I actually saw this morning on a Snapchat, one of the gaming news things I follow on Snapchat. I guess they pulled the auction down, whoever was selling it, and sold it on the side somewhere else.
Side, yep.
And I think that one of the things that was brought up was maybe like CD Projekt Red actually bought it on the side. Like maybe they just paid to buy it so that it didn't get out there, which wouldn't surprise me, I guess.
Well, it does state that there was a disclaimer that said that they would only buy it if it wasn't sold again. Like they're the sole owners of it.
Yeah. So and maybe because they probably don't want that information publicly going out there that they gave into the ransom.
Well, they got more than just the source code for Cyber 2077. It looks like so.
Yeah.
There's more there.
Witcher 3. And other
Witcher
games.
3, an unreleased version of Witcher 3, other games as well as legal and human resource and financial documents.
That's probably the biggest thing. That's the biggest issue, right? I mean, that's where you get, like the human, and honestly, because this is so big in media and society right now, all right, there's some internal sexual harassment case, where an employee says something about somebody and you have that locked away in human resources. Now that gets out.
Well, I think the worst part is like if some of the documentation is true in regards to some of the things that the developers have said about management, internal emails, documentation, basically showing that they truly didn't have a full game release or, whatever, there were lies, etc. I think that's probably what's scarier.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's a good point.
But how bad this has been handled. So,
yeah. Yeah, and actually, yeah, that would blow up their spot on everything that they've made for PR releases, right? I mean, if they
Well, it
said
would
even
hurt them
anything
in
that's
any
wrong.
type of cases that they
Yep.
have against them for the game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about the legal stuff that's already happening. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot that could come from, like, forget the source code. Honestly, the more important stuff, I think, is the legal, human resources, and financial documents. So,
Word.
and that's exactly why companies are so tight knit about that stuff. You know, it's like all your skeletons in your closet, all your dirty laundry. I mean, nobody wants that getting out. It's all blackmail stuff.
Confidential.
Confidential. So, and that's
All
pretty much
right.
it as far as that story is
Yeah.
concerned. So we'll keep
Yeah.
everybody
So
posted if we hear something else. But
yeah, we'll we'll,
it's,
we'll give you the weekly
oh man,
Cyberpunk 2077 updates.
bad updates, literally
Dun
every
dun
time.
dun.
Oh man. All right. So I found this one, and I wanted to bring this up quick. This last topic here.
Mhm.
Um, because I actually had never heard of this, so it's really more so the idea of what's happening with this game. I wanted your take on it, Joe.
Hmm.
6 days in Fallujah. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. Fallujah.
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 Fallujah. Fallujah.
Have you heard of this game before?
No.
Okay, all right, so all right, good. I was prepared for you to be like, yeah, man, you didn't hear about that 10 years ago. So apparently 10 years ago, this game, 6 Days in Fallujah, 12 years later, I should say, is what the title says. Um, they tried releasing this game, and apparently, so let me just read this because I've never heard about this at all. So, 6 Days in Fallujah follows a group of Marines, and this is from Engadget, during the second battle of Fallujah in November 2004. So I guess this was like a battle in, I don't know where the hell Fallujah is, but somewhere, I imagine maybe like Iraq, the Middle East, or something like that, right? Especially around that time, right? It was right after September 11th. The game is based on true stories of dozens of people who were involved in the conflict. Each of the missions, including ones focused on unarmed Iraqi civilians, okay, that answers that question, takes place from the perspective of a person who is immersed in the battle, and that person provides narration about what actually happened. So here's what happened with the actual game. And I'm reading this because I never heard about this. Like, this must have been kept pretty tight knit because I never heard about like a big, thing, rustle and bustle about this game not being released. Soon after Atomic Games and publisher Konami, who makes Yu-Gi-Oh, announced 6 Days in Fallujah in 2009, some activists, veterans, and families of soldiers who were killed in action lambasted the studio. Konami pulled out, and Atomic Games was unable to secure funding, leading to layoffs. The studio wasn't able to finish 6 Days in Fallujah before it shut down in 2011, and its third-person version of the game never saw the light of day. So apparently now it's being revived, and by none other than the former Destiny and Halo employees, former Bungie people, right? So this is, I mean, if it's former Bungie people working on the game, you got to think it's going to be a decent game. But I guess, Joe, what I wanted to ask you is what you think about people like not wanting this game to come to light. Like, do you think was it just because it was really close to September 11th that people just didn't want that shit being put into a video game because they thought it was disrespectful, or like have times changed? I mean, what are your thoughts
Yeah,
on
no,
that?
I think it comes down to that, like, everything has to do with time, right? Like, I can't even remember how long it took for them to come out with some type of movie about 9/11 and stuff like that. Like, it's more about taking an intellectual property, using an intellectual property to show off something that happened in real life. I think the problem comes into play when you're trying to put somebody that didn't experience it in the shoes of somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the problem,
Yep.
more or less, of like, hey, these are like super traumatic experiences for people that, tons of people come back with PSTD and or was it post
PTSD.
traumatic PTSD? Wow. Okay,
PSTD,
so
same thing. XYZ,
yeah,
ABC,
like,
it's
you're
fine.
right. Just letters messed up. Anyways, but so there's a serious nature to all this, and I think when you're trying to make something so close to when these actual events happened,
Mm-hmm.
it's a harder pill to swallow. But as time goes on and things, evolve,
Mm-hmm.
people are less likely to fight it and are like, okay, this is a fictional situation about something that happened back in 2004. and that's probably why it's getting revived. Personally, I'm surprised that this is gaining any type of traction again because, quite honestly, I think tons of people are kind of over
Yeah, I agree.
like military type games. Like they have, there's a niche market, and I think it's gonna stick to that. It's gonna
Mhm.
be, not even PUBG anymore, but people are still into Escape from Tarkov,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
Call of Duty's gonna always be super big.
Call of Duty, what's
So
that? Never heard of that game.
jumping into the market with a game that is controversial in regards to it dealing with real life situations in a sense is,
Hmm.
like, I don't think it's gonna do well.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't think it's gonna do well.
Like the target audience. Like I don't think it even exists right now, right? Like you said, like Call of Duty and Escape the Tarkov is like they're just so much more popular. Like this game is probably I don't want to say flop, but like it'll release. Probably has a small budget. It's probably
Mhm.
do all right, and then just be forgotten about, right? It's like
Yeah,
just
I
one of
don't.
those shooters that nobody gives a shit about, right?
Yeah, I'd rather the people who are working on this game try to make something more original
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
unique, because if they were with the original Destiny crew and Halo crew, that means that they have done some pretty awesome things in the past. So let's
Yep.
continue that awesomeness and make something original, or close to as original as possible. I mean, I think now so much has been done. It's difficult not to take pieces from games, but you can take an amalgamation of a game and make
Mhm.
something better. Do you know what I mean?
Well, real quick too, I wanted to just read this before we move on to your deals for the week. Um, just they I guess explained why they think it's okay to bring it back. So it says in a statement explaining why they decided to bring back the controversial game, Highwire and Victura wrote, "Throughout history, we've tried to understand our world through events that happened to somebody else. 6 Days in Fallujah asks you to solve these real life challenges for yourself. We believe that trying to do something for ourselves can help us understand not just what happened, but why it happened the way it did. Video games can connect us in ways other media cannot." I 100% agree with that last statement. Video games are entirely different form of entertainment that I think is actually way better than movies or books or anything. People argue books because imagination, yada yada yada. But
Mhm.
I agree with that. So I think
Well, it's more
I think it's fine.
immersive, so
Yeah, it's
yeah.
much more immersive. I agree. I think it's okay to bring this back. I think it's fine. I think all it comes down to is too soon. Back then, too
Mhm.
soon. Now, nobody cares. So
Right.
it's
I'm sure
so
people
funny how that
care. It's
works.
just a matter. I don't think the
It's not as
voices are
many.
strong enough to be heard.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
exactly. So all right,
So let's talk about our deal this week.
what do we
So
got?
what I found is they're still doing this apparently. So I figured if you guys have missed it before or haven't taken it seriously, you can go on cdkeys.com and get a year of PS Plus for just 29.89, excuse me. So you are getting PlayStation Plus for a year for less than 50%. It's 50% off basically, just
Yeah,
about that. So
yeah, that's
I
crazy.
mean, take advantage of it, guys. You can get it on the PlayStation. If you have a PlayStation 4, you can get it. If you're lucky enough to have a PlayStation 5, you can get it. So do yourself a favor, spend $30, get on the train,
Why you gotta
and
rub more
save
salt
yourself
in
some
my
money.
wound? Why do you gotta rub
Well,
more salt in my wound? What is wrong? What the hell, man? You know, and actually on this code, if you click the link, it says PS3, PS4, PS5 digital code. Is PS3 online still active?
yeah, I think so.
They haven't shut it down. I know PS2 was shut down.
Yeah,
Wow, that's crazy. I feels bad if I have a PS3 and I'm
hashtag
still
feels
trying to
bad, man.
play online. It's not to hate on anybody who has a PS3. I actually still love my PS3 because it's the 60 gig backwards compatible one, which I
Ooh,
freaking yeah, it's awesome.
hey
So
now.
yeah, I could play Twisted Metal on it.
Yeah, you can.
All right,
So
so
now it's time for SJW's video game releases. Not that many this week, but there are some. So SJW, why don't you take it away?
what was that voice? What
I
was
don't know.
that?
It's my announcer voice.
Yeah, but
My
it
giddy
sounds
announcer
like I've
voice.
heard that type of voice before. I'm trying to think of where.
It's
Um,
generic. It's the generic announcer voice.
announcer voice. All right, so we got 30XX coming out. Let's see here. For
February
PC
17th.
on February 17th. So it's going to be a couple days after you guys hear this initial release of the podcast. Um, Basically, it's a roguelike action platformer that actually honestly looks like they completely jacked Mega Man for the picture. I'm just gonna actually, it just looks like they jacked Mega Man for the whole friggin' thing. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It literally looks like Mega Man reinvented. If you want to check it out, go for it. It's from developer and publisher Battery Staple Games. Then we got King of Seas. I don't know what it is with people really wanting to go all in on this like action role-playing pirate stuff. Maybe it's just because Naruto is or not Naruto. One Piece is huge. I don't know, man, but it's another one. I know. What is it? Sea of Thieves is a big one lately. This is developed by 3D Clouds and published by Team 17 Digital. So that's actually coming out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on the 18th. And then we got The Protagonist EX1 on the 18th for Steam. This is a turn-based tactical RPG. This is kind of looks like Mass Effect, except so it's weird. So to me, Mass Effect was like a tactical RPG. It's just not really like there's no grid or turn-based structure really. It's just more tactical. This has it almost like one of these screenshots is an actual grid with like people that you have move like spaces on the grid. So it's a little bit more turn-based in that nature, like a Final Fantasy Tactics type deal. This is developed by 3 Mind Games and published by All In Games. And it's again, it's Mass Effect, so like it's space themed. It just looks a lot like it, right? And then finally, we have Ultimate Adam, ADOM, Caverns of Chaos, also on the 18th for Steam. So this almost looks like a kind of, this looks really weird, to be honest with you. It looks like I should have bought it back in 1996 when Windows 98 came out or something like that. And then experienced the sequel of a traditional roguelike dungeon crawling classic. Endless procedurally generated dungeons, countless monsters. Dungeons. Yeah, dungeons. It's like I mixed Funyuns. It's a donut in there. Onion. I don't know. It's basically it's Diablo. It's dungeons that are constantly generating just random crap, and but it's all like I'm trying to think of what game this reminds me of back in like old school Windows. Like I definitely am thinking of a specific game. I just can't think of the name. I don't know if are you looking at the pictures of it right now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It just really reminds me of something from back in the day that it just used to look exactly like this. I don't know, but it's developed by Thomas Biskup and published by Assemble Entertainment.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be an early access game, so.
Yeah, looks like that is right. So if you guys want to check it out, but the planned release date is February 18th again. So, and that's it. Yeah, lately not a whole lot of games coming out. I actually mentioned to Joe earlier that there was another news article how the video games just smashed January sales once again. So, I mean, in general, sales are going through the roof, but not a whole lot being actually released as of now. And I imagine that is because of, now we're getting all the COVID over the last year has backed up people's work and they haven't gotten as much work done, yada, yada, yada. And here we are. So, but that's going to be it for this week's episode, Joe.
That is it for this week's episode. We appreciate you guys coming along. Don't forget to click, subscribe, like, 5 stars, all that fun stuff. We really appreciate any of the positivity you can bring forth to our world as we grow the stream to try to make it better for you guys. So with that being said, we thank you all. We love you all because it's Valentine's Day. And we will see you next week on another edition of Game Wild.
Peace out, everybody.
Later.